Hello my fellow guitar seekers out there, welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing the fourth step of the BEBOP in 4 steps series. I would like to quickly review what we did before, and I got some questions, so it would be nice to take the moment to clarify. I believe it's very important for you not to try to go forward on the steps before you truly have mastered the first step, which is knowing the key, whatever key that's given, knowing how to find your 1s, 3s, and 5s. If that's your job. Before you go forward in the series, you really must devote time, necessary time, to be able to place these intervals without even thinking. You must commit them to your second nature. So if I'm on the key of B flat, I'm thinking 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. These notes are the ground of my solo. These notes are what I'm stepping on whenever you are soloing in a bebop situation. So if they are not very clear, and the reason why I'm addressing that is because then you won't have any trouble with finding fretboards. You won't have any trouble finding the need of me telling you the numbers of the frets, because if I tell you a key, it's already your job to know where the 1s, 3s, and 5s are. So if I refer to the 6 or the 4 or the 9th, I don't want you to have to think like, what fret number is it? Well, you have to think about B flat. If you don't know where these notes are, 1, 3, and 5, there's no point in going forward yet. So you have to first know where these notes are. Once you do, when I refer to you asking for the note, the second, you will know it's right after the 1. And you won't have to even think about fret numbers if you already know where your root is. In the case, all I need to know is the note B flat. That's the only note name I think about. After that, I don't think about any note names or fret numbers. I just think about intervals and their relationships to each other. So step 1 was know your target tones. Step 2 is a simple encapsulation. Or, in order to achieve this, you have to remember that you need the leading tone, always chromatic below, and the upper neighbor. For that reason, you need to know the scale that you're dealing with every time. So, okay. The third step was doing further, more complex elaborations over the tonic or the target tone. So instead of just playing this, I can go. That's a whole embellishment just over this. And then step 3 was putting these together, still with one stationary chord. It's very important to go through some time practicing just a stationary chord, just a B flat, for example. Today we go through step 4, which is going to be how do we tie one chord to the other. The first rule or suggestion that I would give you, which actually comes from 18th century counterpoint, is whenever the harmony changes, as much as you can, try to change direction in your musical statement. So if I'm saying something between 2 and 5 and 1, which is the most common progression you find out there, this I may go up on 2, and then when I change chord to this guy, I'm gonna change direction. So that would be a good example. It just sounds better than unless you don't have a choice or unless you want to be creative, but which is no problem. But just for a matter of language and the tradition of the language and the counterpoint perspective, it's important to be done. But of course, you are the owner of your art and you can choose whatever you want to go. Ultimately, music is free. I'm just dictating rules for this particular language. All right? So, okay, here's how we're going to do this. Let's think about a 1-6-2-5 progression. The 1-6-2-5 is a very good way to practice changes. So in B flat, the 6, let's make it a G7, just so it works as a 5 of 2, which is the way it usually appears. And then the 2, you got the Dorian, second degree of the B flat key, C Dorian, and then F Mixolydian. Where you also may apply, since it's the dominant chord, you may apply other scales to build tension, like the altered, the diminished dominant, the whole tone, whatever. Or even chromaticisms. Okay, so we're going to do this. Count 4 beats on each chord, and I'm going to stop at the end of the measure. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 again. But what if I had to change? What if I had to change a chord? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the next chord, I'm gonna change chord. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Now I'm on the ending of this note and I need to think, what's my next chord? It's C minor. So I'm going to change direction here in the case I went up. So now I'm going to go down. On C minor. And who is the closest? That's the ongoing question that needs to be in your mind the whole time when learning bebop. Who or where is the closest available tone? So from this note, the closest available tone to the chord of C minor is obviously G. I may also continue going up and go to B flat, which will be the 7th, but the 7th is not as rooted and strong as the 1, 3, or 5. So I land on the 5, and then now I'm going to change direction. Either think scalarly. Okay, always thinking of trying to hit the chord tones on the downbeat. Or I can go arpeggio. So now here we go. We're going to play over the 1, 6, 2, 5, and I'm going to improvise. And I'm always going to pause or stop at the time that I'm changing chord to find the closest available note. So it's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Very slow changes. 2. This is the G7, first inversion, based on the 3rd. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See here, I ended on C. Last chord would be, next note would be B flat, but the next chord is G. So I'm going to aim for the 3rd here. That's the closest available note. The 3rd of G major, G dominant. Now I need to find a place to land. The next chord is C minor, and the closest available notes are the 3rd or the 5th. Of course I'm going to go, because it's the most melodic way, but I could go, or all these approaches have been looked at in step 3. So, or whatever. And then C minor, now continuing, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'm here on 4, of course I'm going to be encapsulating who's the closest available tone. It's right here, the 3rd of F. And now from the 3rd, I'm going to move on the phrase. 3 and 4 and. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I must land, of course. Where am I going to land? Where's the closest available note to this? I'm going to B flat major. It is the 3rd right there. So this is the counterpoint straight from the 18th century going right there. Right? So another round. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm here. Okay, playing 9, 7. I was going to play 1 if I had stayed on the same chord, but since the next chord is G7, so the closest available note is the 3rd. So, and then so. Now, here I'm playing chord tones 7 and 5 of G7, and then who's the closest available note of the next chord? C minor is E flat. So I landed on there, and now I'm going to improvise. So see, all I'm doing is just approaching the notes. Approaching the tonic, and then approaching the 5th. I got the leading tone, upper neighbor, 5th, and then approaching the 3rd, appreciating the 3rd. Just always approaching the notes. I'm always landing on 1, 3, or 5. So that's the idea, guys. This is what bebop is. If you came all the way to the end of this video, I believe you have enough tools to guide yourself through, your own steps in this direction of learning this language, which is a beautiful language that transcends cultures, and you may even apply it on Brazilian music, on chord instrumental music, on your own productions as a composer. It's a nice just piece of musical color or approach that you can use to embellish your music. I just love bebop, and I love the contribution of this style, and I hope you have fun with the art. Make good use and have fun. Bye-bye.